on here. Here's lick of the day number 39. This is a classic Yngwie picking run. As usual, we can find a link to the tab in the description and also by clicking here on the screen. I'm going to play the whole thing slowly once and then break it down. We start on the 21st fret of the high E string. So before we begin, a little disclaimer. This run is pretty much identical from the thing that he plays in Far Beyond the Sun. The only difference here is that I played with strict alternate picking and he would incorporate some pull-offs at certain points because he likes to lead to a new string with a downstroke. So if you really want to go authentic Yngwie, you should probably look into Troy Grady's Cracking the Code series because he has a really good breakdown of Yngwie's picking style. For me, I'm fine alternate picking it instead, and frankly, it's bad enough being from Sweden, playing a strat sometimes, and also liking neoclassical stuff. So it's not that I want to go, full on Yngwie for this stuff, but I think it's a very big part of his sound. So if you really want to get into that, you should look into Troy Grady's stuff. All right, so this lick is based on the F sharp harmonic minor scale. And if you're not familiar with harmonic minor scale, it's simply a normal minor scale. 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7. But instead of the flat 7, you have the natural 7. So you basically take the 7th scale degree that you would have in a normal major scale and chuck it into a minor scale, and then you get the harmonic minor. And the reason to do that is that it leads better back to the roots. You can get that more classical sound compared to, but that's the origin of the scale. So if you know the normal minor scale, it's just one note that you need to change. So we start here on the 21st fret. And we're going to go down in groups of 4. So basically we have 21, 19, 17, and then 14. So that's our first group of 4. Like I said before, I play this with a strict alternate picking, starting with a downstroke. So down, up, down, up. Just be careful here with this, the position shift. You really want that to sound like a normal pick note, so ideally you wouldn't hear it at all when you play it faster. So you don't want to get any sliding sounds. It's not a slide, it's a position shift, right? So then we're going to repeat the last 3 notes starting from 19. So we go 19, 17, 14 and shift down to 14. And then we repeat the last 3 notes again. So we got 17, 16, 14, and now we get to the, since this is the root, this would be the natural 7th, which gives us that harmonic minor sound. So we got 1, 2, 3 groups of 4. Then we restart again and play the previous 3 notes. But we don't continue down on one string now. Instead, we go into one of the shapes that Yngwie came up with, which I haven't seen before that. And that's basically more of a violin way of organizing the scales on the fretboard. So if we can go back 1 extra note to this note, and it will make more sense to you when I show the pattern. So basically if you count it from this note, flat 3 of the scale, you're gonna have 17, 16, 14, 13, and then you're gonna have 15, 14, 12 on the B string. So you have 4 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And since this scale happened to have 7 notes, when you restart here, you're gonna be exactly 1 octave down from where you started up here. So you have 4 notes, 3, then you repeat that pattern again, but from the 14th fret, so you have exactly the same fingering. And then you can do that again if you want. But in this case, he ends here. So this is not played in the actual lick, because we start the descent here into the actual string changes from this note. So we get 3 notes, 3 notes, and then we're back to the pattern we just showed you. 4 notes, 3, and then 4. But I think it makes more sense if you can see where the shape originates and how it's, the way that it's thinking and organizing this on the fretboard. So again, from the beginning, so we have 3 groups of 4. And then we start from this note and then descend down this 4 plus 3 shape. Just that we start on this note. So we get 3, 3, and then we have 4 notes, 3, and then finally 4. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to play it once again slowly. When it comes to practicing this, make sure that you can get the single string thing down first. So I will go this far. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so you stop on this note. So once you feel comfortable with that thing, then you can start working on the actual descending scale. Or even better, work on both at the same time. Well, not exactly at the same time, but they feel quite different, so it might be a good idea to start working on both anyway. But you need to be able to handle both individually before you can think about putting them together. So this thing then, you have this can be, you know, quite confusing if you're very used to normal 3-note per string scales, where all of a sudden you get an extra note. It can throw you off a bit, but I think it's very good to work on this type of stuff because it will free you up more when you improvise, so you can move around more freely and you don't have to stick to a particular system of playing. You can actually combine things. But a nice way to practice this is to divide it into groups of 8 notes plus 1. And the plus 1 is so you can actually start and stop on the beat. So in this case, from this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. So I can start from this note, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And since you're starting on the correct pick stroke, if you're alternate picking everything, you're gonna get the correct feel when you divide it up like this. So that's a good way to approach this. Another thing I think you should do is to basically take this sequence, the single string sequence first, and apply that to other scales and keys. So if we just do the major scale, C major scale on a single string, and I start as high as I can. Right, so you can do that, but also try to apply this scale organizational concept thing that Yngwie does, where you do 4 notes, 3 notes, 4 notes, 3 notes, because you get a complete octave on 2 strings at a time. So if I start here on the C note, for example, and just go descend the C major scale, right, so you can basically get what's that, 3 octaves pretty easily. So that's a good way to expand the way that you look at scales. Again, so you can be more free when you improvise or write solos or things like of that nature. Because if you're too rigid with this stuff and you basically just do the same thing over and over again, it's gonna be very, very hard to advance your playing. So I think that's a good way of looking at the fretboard. It's a bit tricky, but it's good for your alternate picking because you have 7 notes. You have down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and then the next set will start with an upstroke. So you basically turn the picking around, and then you're back to where you started. But that's not a bad thing. That's a really good thing for your technique. So don't shy away from that stuff. All right, that's it for this one. If you have any questions, just post them below. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this one and see you in the next one.